So it's been just over a year since the Stellantis group hit our shores with just about every manufacturer under its belt, actually. I mean, it's Peugeot, Opel, Citroën, Alfa Romeo, Jeep, and I'm not going to go into all of them. So I am very excited, by the way, to be driving this Peugeot 208. And the reason I'm telling you that I'm excited is because I'm going to be frank. A couple of years ago or so, I was not a massive Peugeot fan. My mom actually had a Peugeot years ago. I didn't love it. And all the products that came out to me were just sort of all the same. Basically what it was that I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, and that reason, the main reason, was actually because there was always something just a little bit more superior to it. In fact, it was quite far down on my list of sort of recommendations if I was coming to car buying advice. Things have now changed, which I'm really glad about. Since, the 208, the 308, possibly two of the most comfortable cars I've ever driven. I have recommended them to a number of people. A few have taken my advice, obviously because it's golden, and actually bought them. And I still receive emails from them every now and again to say, oh my gosh, I love this car. Oh my gosh, it's so comfortable. Put that down because I feel like I'm getting sun on my face. So that's actually very good to know. So that is why I was excited to get into this updated 208. It is also an excellent product overall. The problem is that it's in a segment with the Polo. And that's the benchmark. It just is. We cannot deny it. It's not even just like, oh, because they sell so well and they shouldn't. The Polo is almost just about actually faultless. So no matter what, this car is going to have to kind of match up against it. And then it's got sort of Kia Rio, Hyundai i20, Mazda 2, Citroën C3, like a whole bunch of cars, Opel Corsa. But I'm going to use the Polo to compare this because, like I say, it's the benchmark and it just is the way that it is, okay? So no denying, I think this looks better than the Polo. And I think that's also just because the Polo is now a bit bland and a bit boring, only because even though it's been most recently updated, I was on launch a couple of weeks back, it just, we used to it. We see it so often, I think, that we just probably almost don't even notice that it's on the roads, and that's because so many are sold. But this design is pretty beautiful, I think. The cabin, so I'm a little bit torn because, I love the Polo's cabin. I think it feels a little bit more almost, I want to say mature or maybe sophisticated in a way, but that's not taking away from this because I think this interior looks fabulous. I love the sort of gloss, the black gloss everywhere. This instrument cluster is stunning. I love it. I love the steering wheel, like Peugeot's sort of small steering wheel. A lot of people don't, okay? And that's it's just a preference or whatever. I think it's fantastic. I love the drive in it. I'm nippy, nippy, nippy. It does cut off the cluster a little bit, no matter kind of where you put it. But not so much, not that hasn't happened with other cars and steering wheels, I have to say. So it's not a Peugeot thing. It's probably my height thing. I don't love the piano thingies here, whatever the piano buttons I'm going to call them, but I've never liked them, and again, completely personal. The other thing that does bother me, and again, not exclusive to Peugeot, is that the aircon is in, you can press aircon on here, but now if I press maximum aircon, okay, now I'm mother, but now, okay, now you're getting to another lane, so I can't do this, but can you even tell me? Okay, so now, there we go, okay, I have to turn it off, or I then have to go in here, and then, okay, now it's gone further down, but I've got to the fan, I've got to adjust the fan on the thing. Okay, wow, sorry, been a day so far apparently. It isn't as spacious as the Polo. In fact, the boot this is 511 litres, the Polo is 311 and 350 litres in the Polo. So that would probably be a sort of factor for me or for someone looking into this car. So normally by now I'd have my sunglasses back on so that I don't blind myself, but I forgot them. Can you believe it? It's what playing there. Oh, nothing. Hey! So by the way, I'm in the mid-spec Allure manual, which comes in at just under 366,000. For reference, the Polo Life, which is the mid-spec, is 350 starting. Again, you know, if like Polo, you can optional extra that to whatever's. But this does have like all the things, I suppose, that you need-ish, yeah. So when it comes to the engine, okay, you've got a 1.2 litre turbo petrol, and here you get it in two guises. You've got 74 kilowatts of power, or you can get the 96 kilowatt engine. I'm in the 74 kilowatt. I'll always go for more power, to be fair. The Polo, it's got more power than the Polo's 1 litre, which gives you 70 kilowatts. And this has got a lot more torque, Newton meters. So it's like 175 versus 205 in this. What you can't deny is that the Polo's road manners and driving is pretty superb. Again, it's not to say this isn't, but the Polo is almost faultless in its drive. What I love is this has got 6 gears manual. Polo's got 5, which drive me a bit batty. I always want that extra gear. But this sort of shifts perfectly, and it's mated really well. And there is enough like little oomph in this car. I mean, if you're going around town, city driving, you know, not bad at all. I think I'm like sort of really nitpicking this car because Peugeot sort of upped its game so much for me that, you know, putting up against the Polo, I have to do that. I have to do that because I'm the person to give you advice on what to buy. With that said, okay, I would suggest putting this on your list, because if you don't want this sort of run-of-the-mill what everybody's buying kind of thing with the Polo, this is a really, really good option, and it's really beautiful to drive. I think it's got sort of all the things that you need. Luke is going to be in the back there just now. He'll be fine. His feet might be up against the thing, but that's just about in every car. Like I say, just a little bit more space in the Polo, which I always go for, but it's kind of minuscule. Yeah. Oh, she's very repetitive. Jeez, I think he remembers you by now. Who had your baby? Yeah. Oops, I pressed the wrong thing.